Hi, in this video I will demonstrate the MEP contracting management system in Odoo, which is developed by the Propius Consulting Private Limited. This module helps companies to manage mechanical, electrical and plumbing contracting projects. It covers complete workflow. Let's see how it will work. The company will receive the inquiry via the portal, the contact us form, or it will be generated by the salesperson manually in the system. Let's see, we will create here. Okay, we receive the inquiry in the backend once it is generated. Now we will see CRM, the leads. Let's start with the customer inquiry. Customer can submit inquiry through the website contact us form or the sales team generated manually. Once submitted, it will be created under the My Pipeline. Here it is already available, which is newly created. The inquiry. Let's see how to assign the salesperson, and then we can go ahead with the project estimation. Here we will create the other details. We will add the more details here, like tags will be the Hava products. We can add the more tags here. Options. The estimate lines. If it is related to the sales estimation, so in this case the salesperson will create the estimation and they can go ahead with the quotations, then it will be converted to the sales order and then the invoice. If it is not related to the project creation or the big projects, but related to the small inquiry about the products and all, so in this case you can just use this estimate line. So quickly how it will work, then we will go ahead with the another flow which is related to the tender and bidding. So here I will add few of the products, like here we have the products Havak installations. Okay, here we can add the unit. Okay, we'll add the pricing. You can generate based on this the inquiry in the system and create the estimation. Let's see, we will add the other products also. Okay. And from here we can create the sales estimation. This sales estimation, we have already customer, but it is not created in the system, so we will just create the customer. Now, okay, estimation is generated. This estimation generated by the sales team. If you want to involve the other department or the workflow for the approval, you can use it. It will be confirmed by the person who submitted to the manager. Once it is approved by the manager, it will be then go ahead. So you can send it to the manager as well as you can send it to the customer also. So here we have also send by email options available. Here estimation report already attached, which is generated by the module, and you can send it to the customer. The history is recorded under the chatter. Here we have the customer already. We can give the portal access to the customer. Let's see how it will work. We will give the portal access, grant portal access, grant access, and now we will log in with the customer account on the portal. Let's log in with the customer portal access. We have already customer access. As soon as the customer is logged in on the portal, he can see under the My Account the estimation. This estimation customer can print it, keep it for the record purpose with them, as well as they can sign and accept also. So here we have already sign and accept options on the portal available, so you can use it. This signature already saved on the backend form. Let's see how it will work. We have already here the estimation, sales order estimations. We have the estimation. Here is the signature. Once received, it can be approved manually by the manager or the responsible person in the backend system once it is approved by the customer. So it will be approved, and from here we can generate the quotation. This flow will work nicely. Now here you can see there is the tender bid. If this estimation is related to the tender or bidding, so you can link here your bid on the estimation before creating the quotation. So this flow works nicely with sales estimation first. From the sales you can generate the quotation, and then from the quotation you can convert to the sales order. This is the optional flow. Now let's see, we will see the bidding and then the flow for the job estimation. I already created one of the lead here related to the tender, Silver Contracting Company. So this module manage tenders, prepare the cost estimation and cover the winning bid into project. All are working very fine with the workflow. Let's see. First we create the bid in the system. This bid or tender once registered in the system, then we can enter the important dates. Bid submission date, we can enter tender notification date, expiry date, as well as the tender reference, which type of this bid, tender type, and then the category. Tender details are entered all under the system itself. We have the document attachment where you can attach the tender notice. You can enter the location details, as well for the internal notes you can also add here under the internal notes. Other information, if it is related to the existing project, then you can add here the project details and project duration also. While you are on the tender, if it create project suits your business requirement, you can utilize this feature, but creating a project directly from the tender is optional. From the bid you can create job estimation. We already provided the estimation option here. You can create the job estimation. This help you to prepare a cost estimation based on the material, labor and overhead estimations. It is especially useful for the long-term projects where labor and other overhead cost is significantly involved. Now again, however, in this demo I will introduce the project BOQ. This feature that we have implemented. Let's see how you can create the project BOQ. From the project BOQ you can create the estimation, as well as you can directly create the estimation if it suits your business requirement, and then from the project estimation, job estimation, you can create the quotation also. You can send by email to the customer and you can create the quotation from the estimation itself. So this flow is working nicely. If you want to use this flow which is available, it will be also great. And if you want to use the project BOQ, that feature is also available. Let's see how it will work. We have already project BOQ under the job project BOQ. Let's see here. We can create a new project BOQ. Like here we have the project name of the BOQ. We can give the silver tender costing project. Still we didn't create the project, because the project we will create once there is the probability or we won the tender. So we can create later on. We have also here the job order, that also we can fill later. We can enter the customer details, like here I will enter the silver contracting company. You can enter the description also, tender to be submit. Here material, labor and overhead, we have already 3 tabs are available. From here we can use it, the material, labor and overhead options. Now for this tender we can use already created templates, which we already created under the configuration. So use template. We have different templates here, like mechanical projects, plumbing project, water supply project, electrician project, electrical systems, mechanical systems. So you can use any of this project which is already you can utilize any of the template which is already available. Like here we have the plumbing system, electrical system, MEP system. Let's select the MEP system. You can add more multiple lines also and keep the existing line while you are utilizing the template. Create BOQ lines. It will automatically fetch all the BOQ lines related to the project. If it is project is related to the Havak product, we can just select here the template which is related to this product. You can remove also if some lines or some products are not match with your existing tender, as well as you can add the other materials also. Here we have already material, labor and overhead. The template is available. If we want, we can create the different, we can add the other details also here, other products also which is involved. Like here I will add one more. You can enter the overhead. Here is the transportation. If we have like installation services, cable installation worker or installation services unit, we can enter the cost also here. Like I will enter here 1000. We can enter here the different cost, 2 days 130. Same for the labor, we can enter the cost here. It will come from directly from the product if it is available. If it is not available on the product, you need to be entered manually. Like here I will add we have the material labor 16 hours. I will enter the materials. We can enter the cost here, chillers, I will enter one by one all the cost which is available here. Okay, so here material, labor and overhead, these three costs are differentiate. You can see here clearly how this cost is affected. Now this BOQ will help you with all the bill of quantity. All quantities are mentioned here. You can enter the different quantity. Now you can see here we have already one more option available, labor quantity. If you don't want the labor will be adding as a hour wise, you need the flexible labor, like unit of measure will be in the unit if it is related to the subcontracting services. Just they have to deliver the labor and your work will be done by the subcontractor. In this case it will be considered as a unit. So we have already flexibility here. Hourly base, you need the labor quantity option, or generic where you can select the any of the quantity. It's already available. Now after generating the BOQ, if you need to send it to the internally to the manager, so you can send by email also, or you can send it to the customer also, the BOQ for the estimation. It totally depends on your requirement. Like here we have already available. Let me just add send by email. We have also BOQ template is available here. You can see all the details are already mentioned. So you can create internally also. You will be send it to the internally to the manager also or different department for the approval. You can send it to the customer also the portal access, and they can access and sign on the portal. Let's see how it will work. I already log in on another browser. From the customer portal access, under the my account we have available here BOQ orders, BOQ which already created for this customer. So it is available as well. Chatter option is available. They can sign and accept from the portal itself. So here the customer can sign and accept, and this signature is already saved on the backend. As well, when we create the quotation, let's see, now we have already signed here for the customer. Let me just refresh. Here it is already saved. We have the manager signature options also available, and manager can also upload their signature for the internal documentation purpose. So manager option you can also use it. Once it's done, we can also log internally, and then we can use the next option quotation to be create. Once it is done, we can also log it. No one can be updated. If you have any addition or you have any deletion in the existing BOQ which is already submitted to the client or internally, so in this case you can create a multiple revisions. You can just go to the BOQ, create a revision. It will create the revision very nicely, revision 1. So if I go to the original, I can go directly to the next revision, that is the revision 1. And if any revision of this revision 1, this is also possible. You can create the multiple revision of the revisions also. We have the option here, create revisions. So here another one revision is also generated. So when you go to the revision, you can see the next revision also, and you can see the previous revision also, and then the original one also. When we review it, so original will keep as it is, and based on this original we have the multiple revisions also created, and whatever done by the or confirmed by the department manager or by the client, you can keep that revision and you can create the quotation based on that revision. You can log and then you can create the quotation. So the revision is working very nicely. You can try. When we go to the list view of the BOQ, we can see here there is the original is already available there, and then based on this original BOQ there is the revision is generated, next revision, and then you can see the revision of the revisions also. Both the workflow, so you can choose whichever process best fit your business operations. First, from the tender you can create the job estimation which is available with the material, labor and overhead options. As well, if you wish to create first the BOQ, you can create the first BOQ, and based on this BOQ you can convert to quotation. Let's create the quotation from the BOQ. We have already option available, create quotation. You will create the quotation from the button. Now here quotation already created. We have here the option customer signature. If we have the portal access, we can send it to the customer for the signature. Now here we have the order lines. If our setting is related to the project, will be created based on the sales order confirmation. In this case, this settings is related to the project creation. We already created the project template with the project and task details. Let's see, once this quotation converted to the sales order, it will also generate the project based on our product settings. It is depends on your configuration. Now here I will send this quotation to the customer for the approval. As well, if it is not the portal access, you can send it via the email, or you can send it the hard copy based on your tender details. Now here quotation is already available. You can add the extra terms and condition. Other details also available. If you have some retention related conditions, you can also add here the retention related all options also. Let me just add quickly here retention. If retention is applicable on your project or on your quotation, you can add the retention percentages also. So here I already added the retention percentage. If any fixed amount, you can also add the retention amount. Now here we have already retention percentages added. We can send it to the customer with the option retention date. We can enter the retention date as a today date. Now here we have option available, send to the customer. We will send it to the customer. The quotation format already there, and then send. Once we send it to the customer, customer can access via the portal. Let me go to the another browser. On the customer portal, we can see here one quotation to review option is available. This option can be accessed via the portal. Customer can review, accept and sign the quotation from the portal itself. There is the reject option also available. If customer want to reject, they can also reject it. So let me accept and sign, so we can go ahead with the next option. By signing, you confirm the acceptance of behalf of the silver contracting company. Let me just do accept and sign. So the signature is already saved on the backend system. Let me go ahead and will review. Quotations. When it is accepted by the customer, automatically quotation converted to the sales order. We can see here as well project is generated and task is also created and linked with the project. We can see all the tasks already created based on our template. Now here we have the milestone also. We can add the more milestone, or we can also, by default one milestone will be added, then the account department can add the other milestone for the project completion. Now here we can update if we wish to be update here. Like here I can add the 10% installation testing. Okay, we can add here 20% and here will be 30%. Now we can see most of all the task is linked with the milestone. Here it is already visible. If we wish to change or update, we can update it. Now here we have the one of the line for the sales order which is not linked with the task, but it is individual, so we can create the invoice based on the contract signing amount. Milestone is updated. Now delivery is created. Delivery based on the stockable product which we have to deliver, so it is based on the stockable product. We have the IPC. We will see when we execute the project. We'll start the project execution. For the execution of the project, we'll go back to our BOQ item. Once it is confirmed by the customer, the client is ready to go ahead. Now we'll create the job cost sheet. For the job cost sheet, first we will unlock the BOQ and will link with our confirmed project. Here we have already project is created, we confirmed, and then we already link here on the BOQ. We'll create the job order also, like execution of the project or the deployment of the project. We can create the job order based on our requirement. Now here we have already linked the project on the BOQ. The one of the most powerful feature is job costing. For every project we can track the actual cost and then the planned cost. Now here we have already cost related to the material, labor and overhead. So this job costing maintained throughout the execution of the project. It record your actual cost throughout the project execution. We'll click on the convert job cost sheet. Now the same line of the BOQ is converted to the job cost sheet and it also added here with the detailed line items. We can see here material, labor and overhead. All are added on the job cost sheet. Once it is done, the job cost sheet is created. Here 20 number job cost sheet is created. We can link with the task also if we have already execution of the task is there. So we can add here the job order. Job order is basically the task itself. So we can link our existing task or we can create a new task. Here we have already the project is linked. We can see here some of the task is there. Installation services. So we can make this installation services itself on our job cost sheet job order. Let's go back and here is the installation services. We have the multiple installation services. Let's search more and we can make the group by project. So this project is 77 number. We can just add our installation services. Our job order is already linked. If we wish, we can also update here on our job order. This is the job number 137. We can add here SO0077. Okay. Now how it will work? We will see the planned quantity. We have the cost. This is the planned cost from our BOQ. Now we can see here there is the subcontractor actual quantity because some job is related to the subcontractor services. So in this case it will be updated based on the subcontractor actual work delivered. We have the actual requisition quantity. If any requisition is done, material request is done, it will be based on this updated. We have the sales price here as per the unit. We have the actual purchases. We can see here actual purchased quantity, actual purchased quantity as well as the actual vendor bill quantity also updated. And now here we have the actual purchase cost. If we want to add the cost also, we can see here the costing also actual invoice also here, and here we have the cost price. Now if is there any manual invoices raised, this will also come here, and then the customer invoice quantity also updated here. So all details are already linked with the one of the flow. Now whenever any of the activity is done throughout the project, this cost sheet will be updated. It will be the 6-month project, 1-year project or 2-year project. So based on this it will be updated. Let's see how it will work. We can send it to the department manager for the confirmation. The manager will confirm and upload internally. Then we will start the working on the cost sheet. Now we can approve internally and we can start working on the project. While execution of the project, some of the services is related to the subcontracting services, some is the internal services. In this case, how it will work? We can see here we have already option job order. We can start with the job order when it will be start with the services. We can go to the job order. We have under the jobs we have a menu job orders. It is basically the task. we added all the tasks over here related to the work breakdown structure. Here we will search for our project. Let's just search for our project. We have the 77 number. Here is our task. All the task is already mentioned. We can now start execution of the project. We have already installation services, the main job order which we created. We'll start with this job order. Now here we have the description of the task you can add. We have the material planning. If any material is related to this task, we can also add on the job order. Based on this material planning, we can raise the material requisitions. We can add the more material if it required to execution of this task. Like here, we have the few more materials are there, so we can add there. Smoke management system, we can add here. We have the transportation also, we can add here the smoke management system. So it depends on your requirement. If it is linked to your existing task, you can add all the material here. Some of the task which is like here, we have the pumps valve installation. So for this task, if we require the pumps and valves, we can add here for this task pumps. So if it is related to the job order, we can also plan particularly on the job order. Let's go ahead with our installation services. We will remove from here this pumps, valves and controls. Let's start. Now here, once we plan the material, we can trace the material requisition. Site engineer or the responsible person, they can raise the material requisition request. We have the website. If you want to link this job order to be created from the website, so we can also create from the website. We have the purchase requisition. Basically, if any material other than the plant you want to create or purchase any of the purchase request, in this case you can utilize the purchase requisition. From the top you can see there is the smart button purchase requisitions. So you can raise the purchase requisition for the particular purchase request. So this one is also raise the material request, but it is separately say as a purchase requisition if it is related to the machine repair or internal picking to be released or to create the purchase order. So basically it is also the request. So we have the purchase requisition also, which is linked on our job order. Subtask, if you have any subtask, you can also create here. We have also the button here, create a subtask. Based on this, we can create the subtask. We can assign this task to the different users. Like here, I will assign to the demo, who is my internal user. I can add here. We can add here. We can assign him. We can assign to the multiple user different tasks, and we can create. So it will be generated under the subtask. Now here already subtask is there. Once the user mark demo done this task, it will be go to the next stage and it will be done. Now here we have the consume material. We can link this material request from the picking with our job order. So consume material will come over here. Material from here we have the top. On the top we have the button action, create material requisitions. So whatever we create the material requisition, it will link to our job order based on our material planning. We have the timesheets. The timesheets which we filled, it will become over here. Subtask, this is the Odoo again, the subtask, the same which we created from the top, the create subtask. One record is also generated here. If any task is blocked by, it will become here. Risk register, we will see. We already added the risk register over here for this particular task. If any risk is there, so we can record on this task. Maintenance equipment, basically this is related to the equipment. During the execution of the task, if any equipment is required, it will be created under the create maintenance equipment. Basically it's creating the equipment itself. So we can create the equipment here, like we require the excavation, we can add the equipment category if it is related to the mechanical, or we can enter the model number if we have, we can enter the serial number and not heavy equipment, create equipment. Basically it is creating the equipment itself. So one record will be generated under the equipment. So for this task, if any new equipment is required, we can add it here, create equipment request. Now here we have the maintenance of this request. Maintenance can be created from here, create maintenance request. We can add here, require like brake oil change. Here we have the maintenance equipment, so I just created the heavy equipment. Yes, we have already heavy equipment here. Maintenance team we can assign, maintenance equals responsible we can add here, and then the priority, schedule date we can mention here, and then the how much time it will take, corrective or it is related to preventive, and then you can raise the maintenance request based on this job order. So when I come here on the top, already the maintenance request is linked with my job order. So basically all requests related to the execution of the installation services, if it is related to the material planning, material purchase, or maintenance related or equipment related request, all will be handled throughout the job order execution, and everything is linked via the smart button. Now here we have the other details also, we will see how it will work. Now we have already job order which is linked with our execution of the services. We will start working on the project. We'll raise the request for the material requisitions. From the material planning, whatever the material is mentioned over here, I can create the material requisitions request. From here, when I click, it is asking the responsible employee, operation type. You want to create the new request or existing requisition request. You can merge under the existing requisition request. So better we will create the new requisitions. Here new requisition request is generated. This is basically under the requisitions menu. We have the separate menu requisitions. It is already created under the requisitions menu. 38 number request what we created. Now here we have already the access rights available related to the admin, department manager, and then the store manager. The employee submitted the material purchase request. Once it is received by the department manager, he will be responsible to approve it. Now here we can add the who is the requisition responsible. So we can add here, if it is related to the machine repair request, we can link our machine repair request. This is not related to the repair request, so we will keep it open. Now here we have the installation services. Our job order is 77. We will link with our job order. As soon as I link with my job order, my project is already coming here over here. Now here we have the requisition lines which is coming from the already from the job order. Now here we have the job cost needs to be linked over here. We already see we have the job cost sheet. We have under the job cost sheets. This job cost sheets which we created for our project, we can link over there. Like here we created already the 20 number. Whatever I link the record on my purchase requisition or on my purchases or on vendor bill, it will be hit to my actuals. So this is important. We need to be fill whenever we raise a new purchase request or material request or the purchase order or vendor bill, it will be hit to my cost sheet. So here I will just select here 20 the job cost. If it is related to the one of the line, we can also map with our line. Here chillers, I have already the 20 number. We can also make here chillers if it is related to the other services. Let's see here, chilled water we have already. Okay, so done. It is also submitted to the department approval. You can see here under the chatter we have already notification for the manager to approve the request when to be required, so they can also mention here the receive date and other details also will be there, when it is the deadline. If this request is related to the training application, we will see this one is the later. We have the separate already the arrangement for the trainings, health, safety. Now here the department approval, we can also make the department approval. Once it is done by the department approval, it will submit it to the store manager. Store manager will review which product is uh, related to the purchase, to raise the purchase order, which product is already available and which we need to be create the new request for the requisitions. So from here, store manager basically decide if product is already available on warehouse or on site or somewhere in the store. They can release that internal picking. Via the internal picking they will be released. Again, the store manager, who is the responsible, they will be decide if this request is related to the internal picking, means already we have the stock is available internally on warehouse or on other store or on site, so we can release this stock from there. As well, if it is not available, they can raise directly from this requisition the purchase order request. Like here, I will raise the purchase order request, so we can select here the purchase order. This one also related to the purchase order. Here also chilled water, we will keep one as the internal picking, and here we have the purchase order. Once we select the purchase order, automatically it will give us the vendors here. So we need to be select the vendors. We can select here the multiple vendors also. Like here we have the other vendors, so we can select the multiple vendors if required. Whoever is giving us the best price, we can confirm them. Like here we have the again the aqua, we will select the aqua. It will merge also under the one vendor if we have the multiple purchase request for one of the supplier. Now here this is the internal picking, so it will not allow me to select the vendor. If related to the purchases, I can select here the vendor. Let me just add the vendor. Okay, let me add the now once it's done, the person who is responsible, the store manager, he will select the source location where the internal picking is there. If it is under the one of the stock, they can also select the stock location, or if it is on other warehouse, they can select the warehouse also, and when it will be where it will be used. So basically we can select here the production, or we can create the different location, internal location, whatever is required. Now once it's done, we can also approve. Let's approve. Done, it's approved, and from here itself it will be create the picking and due. And all, as soon as it is approved, all notification is sent to the responsible persons, so all will be notified when they will receive the material. Once it's done, we can see here the internal picking already generated here. Internal picking is done, it is in the draft state. Okay, it's available. Also here we have the project, we already map with the project, so you can select here the project. Also you can select your task, it will be linked with that. Now here, if it is related to the job order, so you can also select your job order on the line level and consumption. So if you make this consumption, if it is related to the project consumption, inventory consumption, so we can make it here. All the raw material consumption we can add here, all the consumptions related to our our installation services. So we can add here the other details, like here this one is related to again the installation services, so we can just select here and save. Once it is validated, it will be confirmed, and now it is released from the my stock. We have already moves generated here, moves is generated. Now for the purchase order, we have the request for the purchase order. We will review the purchase order generated by the system. Here we can see we already selected one of the supplier on each of the line, so it is merged with the product, as well as it is we added the other supplier also. Whoever is giving us the best price, we can just keep them. So we can create the multiple supplier request here, request for the quotation. Here we have the another one, Aqua. We will add here. Aqua is giving us the best price, so we can add here the pricing which we received via the Aqua supplier. Like here we have the okay. Once we receive the quotation and then we agree with this, we can also make the confirm order. Let's confirm the order. You review it here. When I confirm the order, we have already job cost is linked with my purchase order, which we selected on the purchase requisitions. So when we received, let's make this send PO. We have also, we can send the PO also. Receive. Let's receive. Again we can select here our project. We have also the job order. We can also select the job order here. We have the job order. Okay. Now here again, if you wish, you can also link your all the purchases or your consumption. If it is raw material, if it is inventory consumption, we can make it the all the consumptions here. Like here we have the installation. We have already 77, so we can just make the, this is related to the inventory consumption, we can link. Here it is coming two times, maybe it is coming because we have the multiple modules are installed. If we required, we will remove one of the option. Now here once it is validated, it will be also trigger the, it is already trigger the moves. Now here moves is generated and we receive the stock in the system. So this purchases and then the internal request, it is automatically updated on my job cost sheet. Let's see bill later on. Let's review it here. Yeah, here we have the actual purchases which is updated here related to our purchases. We already purchased the 3 of them, and here is our product. So basically it is already updated based on my actual purchases. If I raise the vendor bill, it will be also updated. Let's create the vendor bill. It is already generated the vendor bill. Now we can add here the bill date. Also, if any of the retention is applicable for these purchases, we can add here. It is not related to the anything retention, so we can just keep as it is, and then we can confirm it. Let's confirm the vendor bill. Once it is confirmed, we can see here it will be updated on my job cost sheet. We can see here under the actual vendor bill. Now it is already updated actual vendor bill. So you can get the report with your plant material. Here is your plant quantity, and here is your actual purchase order quantity. Here is your actual vendor bill quantity. It will helpful for you for the projection of the project. We have now the other features. What we can do it here, if some services is related to the third party services, or we can assign to the subcontractor. Like here we have the labor services, this BMS, so we can give this to third party, as well as we have this some cable installation. So this services also we can assign to the subcontractor. In this case, how we will do, we will see here we have already the job order. Let's go to the job order. We will go to the job orders. Now for the job order of my project, I will just come to the job order project. Okay, so this is the installation services. Now we have some services related to the, like here, BMS integration. So we can assign these services to the subcontractor. So what we can do in this case, we can create the subcontractor job from here. This subcontractor job can be created from the button action. We can select the user, subcontractor, responsible person, internal person. We can select the mark demo. We have the subcontractors. In this subcontractors, let me just select the subcontractor. This you can select the multiple subcontractor also. If you wish to send to the multiple subcontractor, you can select the multiple subcontractor. In this case, I will send you one of the subcontractor. You can attach here your drawings, you can attach here the other details, you can attach here the drawings, you can attach the other details and all here itself. Add more details for the job details, and then once it is done, you can create it. With this action, the subcontractor will be trigger the notification. Here the new subcontractor order is generated. We can see based on my action. We will just open it and we'll see how we will be execute. Now here it is already subcontractor is notifying from the system itself, like you can review it, your job order which is assigned to you, if you can do this execution of the service or not. So this will be yes, yeah, because it's our local system, so it is just to move to the local host. So once the subcontractor receive the email, they can also review it, the task which is assigned to them, the job order basically. Now here for the subcontractor job order, we have again the subcontractor job cost sheet. If you have the separate job cost sheet for the subcontractor, you can also link here the subcontractor job cost sheet. We have the main job cost sheet, so we will select the our current one. You can also link the subcontractor job line. So here we can just give the two of the services to the subcontractor. We assign them the cable installation and then the BMS. Okay, we can also link our cost lines with our job order. Here is the tags you can assign over here. You can enter the ending date when you want the finish the jobs also. This is basically for the based on the timesheet. If you have some task which is related to the timesheet, you can send the invoice or raise the invoice for the customer. So this is basically for that. Now here you can also add the deadline also. Deadline you can enter here, like here when you want the deliver the services. These deliverables will be based on the job order or based on deliverable lines. Why we added here? We have here one of the options deliverables on the order. So we want the based on the deliverable lines. So let's select based on the deliverable lines. If it is based on the job order, you can select the based on the job order. Now we can add here the other details which we required, again the description, the services, what we already agree with the subcontractor. We have some contract with the subcontractor based on this. Now here some of the material planning, if we are giving to the subcontractor or they require to finish the job, in the case when we are assigned the material to them. Now here we have the purchase requisitions. This is also related to the purchases, I already informed. Now with this we have the purchase order lines. Still we didn't agree with the subcontractor because we just asked them they can do this job or not. Once they agree, then we will send it to the purchase order. They will once we agree, we request for the PO, purchase acquisition. So we raise the here the purchase acquisition, purchase request for the subcontractor. Like we required the cable installation, so we can add the cable installation services. Okay, we have already here cable installation services, and then we require the BMS. So we will add here the BMS services also we can add, and also we can link with our job cost sheet. So this is related to the my job cost sheet, so I can link here cable installation as well as the BMS. Okay, now here once we did it, we have also for the cable installation we have the units also there, 1000 we make it, and then so let's just change the units. Okay, once it's done, we can here create the purchase order from our job order itself. We have already the button create purchase order. Click on the create purchase order. Here we can also create the purchase order. Is this retention is applicable? We can also select here. If it is applicable, we can make it yes. Okay, PO is generated. We send it this PO to the subcontractor with all the terms and conditions. We will mention here, like here if it is related to retention 5% after completion of the work released. We can make payment certificate. Interim payment certificate can be submitted via the portal. We can add all the details over here, all the terms and conditions. Based on this, we can go ahead with the next. Here you can see the retention date is coming automatically. So basically this retention date we can also change. We add it on the project itself, so we know this is the deadline of the project or deadline of the work. So everywhere it will be hit. We can change according to our contract with the purchase with the vendor. Now here we already link with our job cost sheet, job cost lines and all. Now we'll confirm the order. Once we agree with all the terms and conditions, the purchase order is raised, and then the subcontractor will start execution of the work. Just let me cancel it and we'll add some of the amount over here, so we can see how it will be reflected here. Just let me just add here. Okay, I put the random amount and confirm the order. Once order is confirmed, we can also send the PO, and then we agree with the work. Now we will wait for the subcontractor. When he give us the signal, like we already make the progress for this work. When they start execution of the work, meanwhile our team or the site engineer, they will also review it, the work on the site. Once they finish the work, subcontractor, they will inform to the site engineer like this work is done. We require the payment for the completion of our work. Based on our milestone also we can make it. We can also make the milestone for our work. Now here we can go ahead with our job order, which is the starting of our task. Here you can see during the execution of the project, if any material other than our define on the job cost sheet require, so we can add it over here. Like here we can add some material they required which is not mentioned in our planning or in our cost sheet. So in this case what we can do, we can add it here. If they required any of the material, it is not there under the job cost sheet, but we can add it here. If they make the request to provide the material XYZ, so we can add it here, all the material which we are going to provide to the subcontractor. Also you can create the material requisition from here, or they can raise the purchase request. In this case we have already the purchase requisitions, so they can raise the purchase requisitions also. In this case, what we can do to update our cost sheet, we have already here the option create and edit the cost sheet. So we can just add here create and edit the cost sheet. We can also update the existing job cost sheet. It totally depends on the requirement. Here we will create the new job cost sheet because this is related to the subcontracting work and we want to manage all the subcontracting costing in separate job cost sheet. So we can just create here the separate job cost sheet. When I come here, I can see here it is already linked with my job cost. Let's go ahead with the next one. Once the subcontractor is done his work and they will be submitted all the work to the or partially they submitted the work to the engineer. So in this case the responsible person or the site engineer, they will record all the deliverables. Over here we have already the deliverables section. They will be submit here all the deliverables, like here I already make it. They already done the BMS 30% service is done. We can add the other details. They can enter the start date, end date, when they started and when it is done. It is already there. Also the job costing where it is linked, so we can also make here. This is related to the BMS services, how many hours they spent, we can add here. They can spend like 120 hours, we can add. Here is the plant quantity is 1. So they already delivered the 30%, so we can make it, this is the plant quantity, we can keep it the plant quantity. Subcontractor, here it will come how much work is done. So here we can do the subcontractor actual quantity. So they did it is 0.30, like 30% work is done, so we can submit it. Once it is done by the site engineer, the responsible person, okay, let's save my changes first. Okay, then they can submit it. Okay, once it is submitted by the site engineer, it will be approved by the manager and they will be review and they can do like here authority approval. Okay, so this is the under the authority approval. Once they approve, then it will be submitted to the actual work, like on their job cost sheet it will be updated, and based on this they can release the payment. So we can approve it. Once it is done, the authority person, they can approve it. Okay, they will review it. Okay, this work is done. Also they can make the submission of the other works also, like here we have the cable installation also, so we can add the cable installation. And this work is also completed, like they will say like 50% done, so we can make the, this is the 50% it's done. We can add here, this is the just I will take the cable installation. Yes, this services is done. How much hours they spend, this is totally optional. If we require, we can keep it. Plant quantity is 1, they completed the 50% of the work, so we can make the 50% of the work. Like here I can make the 50% work is done and it is submitted to the approval to the responsible person or authority. So once it is there, we can make still the authority approval and they can change it. Still it is in progress, not yet approved. So or whatever the status, we can edit accordingly. Once it is reject or approve, totally depends. Once it is approved, it will be approved by the person. So deliverables of this subcontractor job is already linked with his job costing. We will see here we have the job cost sheet. Let's go to the job cost sheet. Yeah, we have already here our job costing. We have the subcontractor work related to the labor. We can see here we have already subcontractor work, BMS services, it is done 50%, so we can add it here. This is already done. The actual subcontractor work is delivered, 1 quantity is planned and 0.50 is done. Now here we have some of the overhead we added as a cable services. So for the cable services also, subcontracting work is done 0.83. I think I already added the not the 30%, 0.83. So it is done the 0.83. The actual work is done. So based on this, work is done. Here it is updated on my job cost sheet. We can also raise the accordingly. Now raise the payment, release the payment in this case. Yes. Now here some of the subcontractor work related to the IPC, interim payment certificate. So in this case, this also we can manage in the system. Let's see how it will work. Now for this purchase order, we need to book the vendor invoice. Now in the case if it is subcontractor and we are dealing with the IPC, interim payment certificate, so in this case what we will do, we will go to the projects. We have already under the projects there is the option IPC. You can book the vendor IPC under the IPC, interim payment certificates. Let's go to the interim payment certificate and create a new. We have already subcontractor. We have the subcontractor Joel. So we will take the Joel as a subcontractor. The project will be our project MEP, project installation. Job order, we can select the job order, for which job order we are making this IPC. We have the site engineer. Who is the site engineer? So we can enter here the site engineer will be the Beth Ivan. So we will add the site engineer. Let's take the Smith as a site engineer. We can add the approver. Who is the approver? John is the approver. Tags you can add it. IPC type, which type of this IPC? So this is the basically related to the work progress payment or equipment installation. So we can add here the mechanical equipment testing IPC. Retention product, yeah, if it is related to the retention we can add the retention also. Here we have the retention. If any payment, advance payment is already taken for this vendor, so in this case we can add here the advance also, advance recovery product, but we don't have right now any advance here, so we can keep as it is. Now for here BOQ lines we can save it, and here we have the, we can create the vendor bill or we can create the purchase order. So we have already purchase order, we need to book the vendor bill. So in this case we can just select the vendor bill and we'll add the lines. In this case we have already lines are there, cable installation and BMS system. So in this case we will add here cable installation. We can link with our job cost sheet. We have the 20 number, the job cost sheet. We have the job cost sheet lines also available over there. So we can link with the job cost sheet lines. Here we have the cable installations. Okay, 3000 and 6000. So we can enter here the price what we agreed. This is the cable installation is related to the 30,000 and 6,000. So we will add here the 30,000. We'll add here the 6,000. What is already we agreed for the price, and the quantity which is delivered 0.50 is delivered here, and here it is delivered the 0.83. So accordingly we will enter all the amount. We will prepare the IPC which we received from the subcontractor. So this is what we received from the subcontractor. Now here we don't have any advance recovery because we didn't pay any advance. So in this case we can just keep it null. Now here once it is approved and saved in the system, after that we will create the vendor bill in the system. We will book the vendor bill what we received from the IPC. Based on this we will book the vendor bill in the system. We'll create the vendor bill and we'll release the payment. Now here we'll go to the payment. We have already confirmed one. Like here we have all the details. We will review it and then we can confirm it. We can add here the, also we can link with our PO also. Our PO is actually 36,000. I can just remove it because it is double up my amount. So we can also link the PO over here and we can confirm it. Now here you can see under the general item we have already make the retention product. So it will be past the retention product. If you have the separate retention account, you can also link with your product retention product the separate retention account. Now let's confirm it. If this PO is related to the contract, you can also link the contract. Let me just confirm it. Okay, so now bill is already booked in the system and we'll release the payment accordingly. Now when we release the payment, we can see here we have already released the payment, create a payment. Okay, so now it will be in the in payment status. We will see here on our vendor bill IPC certificate is already linked. This is the related to the IPC which is submitted by the subcontractor. We have the retention entries here which we need to be released after the completion of the work. So we have the retention also here as well. Go to the IPC report. We will review it. The IPC report also available in the system to print. Now you can see here this is the approved IPC with the status. You can also print it and you can make it you can keep it as a documentation for the approval of the site engineer, contractor, project manager and approver. Now all details are there. Now you will think how the subcontractor will sign this IPC. So we have already the signature option here on the IPC also related to the site engineer, manager, contractor signature. So for this contractor signature we can send it via the portal access. So we can see how subcontractor can access the portal. Let's go to the subcontractor portal, sign in with the portal access. We have the subcontractor portal where they can sign, they can even review it, what they did, the completion of the work and all. So here we can see we have already here subcontractor job orders. So this subcontractor job orders we can see okay, they already submitted, they can review it from the portal. Okay, we did it, this is the authority approval, already it is approved. We'll make the sign and accept. Okay, what is recorded in the system, it is we agreed. If anything they can also add here, make sure retention release on time. For the communication they can also use the portal, so it will be save all the communication with the subcontractor. Now once it is done we can see another one thing on the portal. We have also the deliverables. These deliverables the subcontractor can also create from the system itself. So we have the deliverables where they can submit it as a done. Okay, now here you can see they already, this is the already approved, this they already created in the system. They can create the deliverables from here itself. They can select the project. Okay, this is the MEP project, this is the BMS integration. They can see only their job order which we are giving as a job to complete, the assigned job order only. Here they can also attach the document like here remaining 70% work done, cable installation. They can add the description here, the start date, end date also they can enter here, when it is start, when it is done, and they can add all the details over here. Now we can see they can add the multiple lines, like for the BMS also they can make it like BMS remaining work submitted, and they can also enter the work details when it is done, and all the details will be there and they can submit it for the review in the backend system. Now we can see here it is already submitted. We can see the other details also. These all are related to the project. If the project is assigned to them they can review it, sort by deliverables. They can also review for all the project work. Now once it is submitted it can be reviewed in the backend system. We'll see how it will work. As jobs separate menu, here under the separate menu we can review it. We have already the project, we will see the project 77. We have the BMS integration. We make the signature here on the portal will review the signature. Okay, the signature is already done. Once it is submitted the work, they can also make the acceptance sign. Also, the subcontractor submitted some of the deliverables. We will review it here under the deliverables. Yes, we have already here two of the deliverables entered by the subcontractor on the system. Based on this, we can also make the, like here they already mentioned 70% of the work is done and then the remaining work submitted. So site engineer or responsible person, they will be review it and they can make it, submit and then approve it. Now if they can make the deliverables from the subcontractor can make or create the deliverables from the portal, they can also create the IPC from the portal. That is the submission of the IPC. We will review it, how it will work. Let's go to the subcontractor portal. We have already IPC here. We'll review the IPC. We have here one of the IPC which we already approved and we released the payment also for this IPC. Now here we have the, for the IPC also we have the signature. Once they will receive the payment, the subcontractor can make the accept and sign online via the portal. Now they can also create the IPC for the new new payment certificate. They can submit it. Let's go to the IPC, create the IPC. Here they can select the project. Okay, this is the ongoing project for which IPC type. They can also select the IPC type is related to the mechanical equipment work. BMS integration, yes, site and engineer they can select. They can add the date also when it is submitted, so they can enter the retention percentage also. We have already in the backend, so and they can attach the document related to the XYZ work is done and they can upload that document. Add BOQ line, they can also add the BOQ line. This is the good. See, on the deliverables they don't have the BOQ line. Here they have exactly the BOQ line for their IPC. So now here they can make the cable working. So they can make the cable installation work. There is the quantity which is submitted 0.70. The remaining 50% is done. Now here they can make the unit price. We will enter the 30,000 0.50 already previously it is submitted. Now we have the BMS. This is also 0.17. The work is done. Previously we already submitted 0.83. So remaining work will be entered and then the amount what is agreed and it is on the PO. Based on this it will be updated and then submitted. Once it is saved and submitted, we can review it. It is already saved in the backend. So backend system, the person who is responsible, he will be aware. Okay, this is the submitted IPC. So we will review it on the backend. We have already here, yeah, vendor submitted IPC. We can see here it is done by the Joel, and then we can review it all the details here. Okay, they are requested for the partial payment. Here we can see the current IPC amount and all. Signature, if it is done by the portal, like here we are on the portal and then it is submitted with the signature by the subcontractor, it will be also updated in the backend system. We can see here, just I need to be refreshed it is submitted. Now here we can review the progress billing also. The current IPC amount is there, the cumulative certified amount, total amount, and then the previous IPC amount and retention amount and net payable amount. So all details are already mentioned over here with the BOQ lines and all. Here the backend system, the responsible person, he will be linked with this all the detail with the job cost sheet, so we can get all the detail on our sheet, job cost sheet. We can map the actual and then the plant quantity. Here we have the cable installation, so we'll add the cable installation. Then we have the other details also here like BMS, so we will add the BMS. We can also link the job order if it is required. We can also link with the job order, like we have here the installation BMS integration. Yes, this is the job order, so we can also link with our job order. So basically our IPC is very clean, with all the details here. The backend system responsible person, he can also add here the other details which is required by him to enter. If any advance is released or taken, it is also over there. And then the approver, who is the approver, so approver sign also there. So once it is done in the backend system, then the approver signature also there, who is the approver of this IPC. The site engineer, we can give him the site engineer the portal access, so they can also done on the portal. Then we have the manager access also, site engineer access. Let me just add it here. So all can be do it in one line. All the signature can be taken care on the same submission of the IPC. Now here we can also enter. So we can review site engineer, approval, and all are done with their signature. We can make it this possible with the portal access. Now here, once it's done the IPC, we can also make it is submitted. So it will be the submitted, it will be the verified with the particular person and all the details. Now here we have also the IPC report in the printable format. We can also print and we can keep it for the documentation purpose. So here for our current IPC, all details are there, signatures also available over there, and we can keep this with the progress billing option. We have already all the details over there, and we can keep it for the documentation purpose. Once it is approved by the manager, we can also create a vendor bill in the system. We have both options available. If you wish to create as a first purchase order and then vendor bill, you can also do it, but we already created the purchase order, so we can just book the vendor bill. Here it is already done. We can also link our other details, like we can also link here with the job cost sheet. Here the product is there, we need to be linked with again with our job cost sheet. We will link it here, cable installation, and then the BMS. Okay, and here is the retention is also applicable. Once it's done, we can also confirm it and we can release the payment. We'll first review the cost sheet and then we will go to the project dashboard, how it will be reflected. Also, we didn't create the budget yet. We need to create this budget on the early stage or throughout our project. Now we will see how it will be generated. We have already here two options: the budget created based on the cost sheet or based on the cost sheet line. If we create based on the cost sheet, so our project will be remain one single on all the cost sheet lines. If we make the cost sheet line wise, means we need to be select on each of the line the separately the project. Right now it is disabled because our option is based on cost sheet. If I change the option like create based on the cost line, so for each line I need to be select the project separately. So it depends on your requirement. Right now we will make the based on the cost sheet, so each line the project will be remain same. You can enter the different department and the internal costing for the cost center for the costing purpose. Totally it's available and it is working nicely. Now we have here the based on the cost sheet, the budget. We have already the option available. Create a budget. We'll create the budget. We can make for both revenue and expenses. We can select the period also. Here for the project we have already, like if project is related to the 6 month or 4 month, based on this we can create the budget. When I make the budget, it is nicely created with all the lines of the project. Now here we have already the project is there on all the line, cost type, material, labor and overhead, all is coming together. Now we have already linked with the cost sheet, so here the cost sheet is there, all the product is already available here. We can review all the product also, and then the budgeted price from my cost sheet. So all details are already available here on my project. Let's make it open. It is under the draft. we will make. As soon as we open, we can review it here. Committed is coming over here properly with all the product what we already raised the invoices based on this vendor bill. Based on this, committed is updated. Here is 20, 10, 5, 6, total 71,000 is there. Achieved, we can see here what is we already achieved. It is coming over here. We have the other details also, that is the Odoo default one, so it will be updated. So basically on the cost sheet, on the budget, you can see there is the cost sheet also linked here. We have, if you have the department internal, it will also update it over there. Each of the product is already linked with the cost sheet, and this is the product is also coming on the budget, and this product will visible with your committed, with your budgeted to the committed. So it give you the perfectly one-to-one mapping with your budgeted price, your committed, and your achieved. Now we can see here it is also linked with the job cost sheet. If you have any update over here, you can also create the revise also. So we have also the option here, revise. Let's now, we already received work done by the subcontractor. We will submit now our work to the customer. So in this case, what we will do, we will also submit the work. We will deliver all the committed materials as well as the services. Whatever is done, we will also submit to the customer, the IPC in this case. Let's go to the delivery. We have already delivery generated for this. In this case, what we will do, we will make the validation here. We already make the some of the work, so we will make the validate. Okay, we can also link here our the job order which is there, the installation services. We have already the other details. As soon as I make it, here is the deliverables is updated. Now for the BMS and for the cable installation, we already delivered, but for the BMS, it is related to the services on the milestone. We will check if any of the milestone is reached or not. Okay, we will see here there is the some milestone installation completion. We will review it here, view task. So this installation, HVAC system installation, it is already done, so we can make it the, if it is done, then we can make the testing and commissioning. We can change it, we can update here the installation services. So this is the done. Material procurement, this work is also done. We already procure all the material which is we already committed. So what we can do here, we can make it this done directly from here. We already mark it done, we can make it the done. This all the deliveries is done. Final, this is the still we didn't finally hand over, but we already delivered this all the procurement material, so we can make it this is also done. Installation services 20%. This is the installation services, still we are working on it, so we can keep it as it is. We have the other details like testing and commissioning. We can check what is there. Yeah, BMS integration, this one is we already delivered the partially services, or we can say we already delivered the full services. So in this case also we can mark this one as a delivered, so we can make it here the done. Okay, so once it is done, we can make here, okay, this is also the done. So we can make reached, this is also reached, and this is also reached. So we can make from here itself, or we can directly do it from the project dashboard. We will see how it will work. Okay, now we will go to the sales order and our project. Here is project which is linked. We will go directly from here. We have the dashboard. Let's go to the dashboard. We can see from the starting of the project. Let's go to the dashboard, project dashboard. We will review. As soon as our services is done, we can just mark it from here like it's done. and when I select here, it will be updated the delivered quantity on my sales order. Here the delivered quantity for the BMS, which is we already completed 0.50, as well as the cable installation, that is already we done it, and then we make the smoke management. So whatever we done, it will be updated automatically. Havak installation 0.50 and installation services, still this is pending. So delivered quantity will be updated based on my milestone, because on the milestone I already set some of the tasks which is related to the material procurement, installation completion, testing, commissioning, and which is linked with my particular product. We can review it here on the task. This is the BMS integration. When we check, it must be linked with my particular sell order line. So this is when I select here, automatically it will be updated my delivered quantity on the sales order. So we can raise the invoice to the customer. Now here we'll review the project dashboard. Here we have the stock receipts, we have the stock deliveries, stock internals. Here we can see the timesheets which is filled for this project, billed on milestone. If anything is done as per the milestone billing, we can see here this is already done, partial services. So here we can see 0.50 is delivered, still the installation services is pending, so it's pending. Material we can review it here based on our sales order. We can review it here, the material also. We have the cost also. Yeah, here we can review it here, all the material we can see here. This is the delivered also and invoice. Still we didn't raise the invoice, so it's not there, but delivered is already there. Now cost, we can review it here. The timesheet, we didn't fill much timesheet, so here it is the few of the figures. Purchase orders we have already expected, we already create the purchase order for the 71,000, and we didn't receive the vendor bill from the suppliers. So here it is, the to bill amount is there and billed amount is there. Vendor bill we can review it here. Now here total cost, we have this is the total cost till now, to bill, and then the billed amount, already billed amount. These are the cost, and above is the all the revenues. Let's go down. We have again the job costing, item summary by product. All the material which is used, it is available over here to review, as well as you can review it. There is the requisition also coming here. If any requisition request is created for any of the product, it will be visible with the quantity on the dashboard. Here we can see the job costing, item summary by product, material, labor and overhead based on our job cost sheet. Here we can see the summary also, and then we have the budget. We'll review the budget also. Here budget is already updated. Let's go first. We will see the sales order. Here on the sales order, delivered quantity is already updated. From here we can create the IPC for the customer. Let's create the IPC for the customer. We can also link the job order, like here we have the job order 77. Select the site engineer. We can select the site engineer, also the cost sheet which is linked with our job. Now here we can see the retention amount is coming automatically. Approver, we can select the approver also, and IPC type. If it is mechanical, we can add the different IPC types. Now cell quantity is there, certified IPC quantity we need to be add here. So here new IPC quantity we can add it here, like this is already update, this is already delivered. We can check here, if something is delivered we can make it the delivered. Ventilation system is delivered, this is delivered. So we can update based on our work is done. Mechanical labor we can make here, 10 partially. Transportation, whatever we raised, we can make it here. For the IPC installation services, still it's pending, so we are working on it, so we can keep it pending. Now we can create based on this the IPC. IPC is generated based on the delivered quantity. Here we can see the quantity is updated, what we entered over there. And now here we can see there is signature also available for the customer portal access, same like what we see in the vendor IPC. Once it is generated, now here we can see the current IPC amount, cumulative certified amount, as well as the previous certified amount. We didn't raise any IPC previously, so it is blank. We have the retention amount based on this current IPC, and then the total payable amount. We'll review it here once it is submitted, or we can also send by email to the customer. We have already the send by email option available. Now it is verified by the manager or site engineer. Yeah, we can send it. Here we have the IPC. Here we have the IPC. Also, let me just select the silver contracting. Okay. We have the IPC format reporting. Here we can see the submitted, all the details are there, BOQ lines are managed properly, and then we can see the progress billing also there and approver sign also there. So you can keep it after it is approved for the documentation purposes. Now we have the verified also and approved. Once it is approved internally by all, then we can create the customer invoice. This all the stages already managed under the configuration. So if you have some, like we want to create the before the verified stage to create the invoice, so you can manage this from the stages. Yeah, we didn't receive any advance. If we receive the advance, we can also make it here the advance recovery product. So advance will be deducted from our existing IPC. Let's create the customer invoice. Once we create the customer invoice, it will be updated here, all the details accordingly. Yeah, we can also link this with our cost sheet. Here we can also see there is the cost sheet is already there, cost sheet center profit. So already it is linked with my cost sheets. All the details are already updated according to our IPC. Now here amount is there. Still we didn't create the any of the previous invoice, so it is not there. So we can see here the current invoice less and total due amount. Now here retention is already coming over there, all the details. We can also link here our project is already linked. This is the duplicate because it is coming from the one is the analytic account and one is the project, so we can also link here. Progress billing title, if we want to, we have the separate also the format for the progress billing. If we wish, we can also print it from here, and we can add here the progress billing title also. The same title will appear over there. Once it is confirmed, it will be generated in the system. So first we submit the IPC to the customer, then we create, once it is approved the IPC by the customer, then we create the invoice in the system itself. Once the invoice is generated, it will be submitted for the payment to the customer. So this flow is working properly with all the details and everything. Now if you wish, we can also check. This is on the sales order. When we go to the sales order, we can see here invoiced quantity is automatically updated, as well as the certified IPC. If you have certified IPC quantity you submitted, it is also automatically updated. So these all are linked with on your sales order: quantity, delivered quantity, invoiced quantity, and certified IPC quantity, and all is perfectly working with the link of each one on your sales order, so you can trace from the one of the record. Now we will go ahead with the next. Let's review one more time the project task. if all are not completed yet, we can mark it complete. Like here we can already we can set the done. Here MEP installation, we can mark also this one is the done. Let me just mark it done, and then we can make the final handover. Now here when we review it, we can see here there is the change order. If any request related to the order, or we can say the execution of the project, if any material additional is used or any other services is used, so in this case we can raise the change order. This change order can be created for the subcontractor also, subcontracting services, as well as it can be done for the customer also. If it is related to the subcontractor change order, we can just mark it subcontractor change order. So here we can see the subcontractor field is unable. Let's make this one is for the customer request. So we can select here the project. Customer automatically came. Guarantor 1, we can add the guarantor 1, and guarantor 2, we can add it who is the responsible for the changes. Now here the job order, we can select the job order also for the job order of the installation services, or any other job order or any other services. If any changes are required on that task, we can also select that task. Now here we can see the price list and the other details is already there. Here we can make original date completion. We can also add the date. Here we can add few more material which is required during the execution of the task. So we can make it like, here we will select the some of the additional details. Like here we will here select the some additional services. We will here select the some additional services, like I already selected here the electrical connection 884, the labor which we use it. So we can mark it confirm. Once it is approved internally, we can mark it approved, and if we send it via the email the customer for the confirmation, if customer is okay and they are saying okay, you can go ahead with the changes. So in this case we can also get the approval from the customer, as well as we can get the customer approval. Once it is approved, we can mark it here the customer approval. We can also get the approval via the portal, which we already see from the portal. Change order also accessible, and then the customer can mark and sign it from the portal itself. Once it is done, we can mark it done. So this process is done. Under the system, we already recorded the change order. Now we will raise the quotation for this change order. It will be additional services, or it will be additional material which is used during the execution of the project. So here we will create the new quotation for this, and this new quotation is related to our previous project. Here the project is already there, which we already created previously. Now we will mark it confirm. So we can mark confirm, and this will be recorded in the system. So this process related to the change order is working quietly, nicely. You can also try. If any of the change order request is coming, you can raise the change order. Now let's go back to our job order. In this job order, we have already the link of the sales order. We have the subtask. If any of the subtask is created, when you create any milestone related billing, it must be completed your subtask also, which we already mark it here done. So it must be a done. Installation services. Now this subtask is under the installation services, so we need to be marked done. Job cost. If any of the job cost is linked, we will review it the job cost in detail once we finish all the job. Stock moves. We can review the stock moves generated based on our job order. Now here we have the change order, subcontractor jobs. We created few of the subcontractor jobs. If it is there related to this job order, it will be linked here. Now here we can see there is the purchase requisition we raised. So purchase requisition request is there. Risk incident. If any risk incident is happened during the execution of the project, it must be recorded in the system itself. Like here we can add it here. If any risk incident is happen, we can link with our project. We can assign this incident to the responsible person also. We can add here the other details also, description of this risk activity. You can make the table, and you can add or list, and you can add more details here for the risk. Once it is done, we can create this as an incident. So we can click here, create incident, and here we can mark it risk incident. We can also upload the incident pictures and then create incident. So with this risk incident, we can also create the incident in the system itself. We will see how it will work. Now here we have the inspection. This inspection also related to the job done. So if you want to use the deliverables at the same time, we can also create the inspection process for the first stage or stages wise or the deliverable wise. You can create the different inspections like first stage inspection, dated. We can add the date and all here. That's the reason we make the create date also. So you can add the date also, inspection location also you can add. Related to the risk incident, if this is the this inspection is related to the risk incident, we can also make the inspection for the risk as well as for the other task also we can add here. Now here for the job cost sheet also we can link here the job cost sheet with our project if our project is already linked here. And then we have the inspection type. If it is material inspection, safety inspection related to the risk, or authority inspection, we can create this inspection over here. Inspection start date we can add here. We can add the other details also. Inspection responsible person. Here let me add the inspection responsible person, and then the if it is linked with the subcontractor, in this case we can also select here the subcontractor also. And then we have like the joil, so we can just select the joil subcontractor. Inspection result, this is the result based on the inspection process. So here what is the inspection is done, so we can add here related to the health and safety or other related to the project execution task we can add here. And here the person who created the inspection, he can also select here if it is pass, fail, or track geometry or rejected. So we can make it here fail or pass, add more details. So inspection can be created in the system. Once it is confirmed, then it will be go ahead with the process. Then the person who is again responsible, he can also change it this result also. We can mark it null first, and then if it is rejected, then we can make it the rejected and then complete it. So this inspection process is already there in the system. We can see here who is done, when it is done, when it is processed, all details are there. We can also upload the more inspection photos. So this can be done like you can make the based on these multiple reports if you are handling the inspection process manually. So you can upload all the photos after even the finish of the job. The site engineer or the responsible person, he will finish the job, he can attach all the pictures and send this inspection report to the customer like we already done the services. And also you can make the print for this for the documentation purpose. So we have the inspection here, first stage inspection. We can add here the result also. You can attach all the photos, then it will be visible on the report itself. So this is very useful feature when you have to convince the customer like we done the task and inspection is done by XYZ person. Let's see now. We will go back to our job order. Under the job order also we have the equipments. We already see previously there is the equipment also you can create from here. You can create the multiple equipments here. This is basically creation of the equipment which is linked with the other details, like if any contract is linked with this equipment, you can also upload the contract with this implement. with this equipment, we have here now contra, which is linked with the equipment. Let's see here. Let me create one of the equipment. Heavy equipment. Here we can add the category. If it is related to the maintenance team, we can add here. Okay, we can add the used by employee or department or other. We can also use it. This selection used in location, we can add here where we are using. If it is on the customer side, we can also mark it here, the customer side. If it is related to the work center, we can also create the work center, like here site X. So you can create the work center. It is automatically updated. Now here we have the description, product information. You can add the more information here, like if it is related to the aqua infrastructure, we can add it here. Other details, cost also you can add, warranty expiry date you can add, so you don't have to go here and there to search while if you require any of the maintenance. So we have the maintenance also here, expected mean time between the failure. You can also add the days also, and then we can add the here accessories, which accessories is required for the maintenance of this heavy equipment. We have the equipment, we can add the multiple accessories here, whatever is required for the maintenance. Now here maintenance plan material, here also we can add the maintenance plan and materials. If we require the oiling and then the other details, we can add here the, let me just add it here. You can add the different quantities we have unit, we will keep it. You can add the multiple, like we need the bolts, screws, everything we can add it here for the maintenance plan material. Maintenance equipment checklist also uploaded with this equipment, like when we receive this equipment from the vendor, then what kind of the equipment like maintenance checklist is required. We can create the checklist in the system, like which inspection, oil system, we can add all whatever is required. As well we can create a new also, the option is created. You can also record a new checklist for this. So the person who is responsible, he can also aware whenever the maintenance request is coming for 1 month, 6 months or 5 years. Now here we can also upload the pictures of the equipment in the system. So we can upload the pictures of the equipment. By this you can create the equipment in the system itself related to this work order, or we can say related to this job order. So you can link the equipment which is used for this job or task or the project execution. Equipment is already linked. Now we have the maintenance request. If we are creating any of the maintenance requests related to the equipment, it will be also linked with our job order. Here we can make the maintenance brake oil change. We can add, created by automatically coming here. We can link here our equipment. I will add the heavy equipment which I just created. If it is corrective, preventive, we can add. If it is related to the manufacturing order, also we can link with the manufacturing order. If we have the process of the manufacturing, we can add the schedule date here, end date, and also we can link with our job order. Like here for my job order is the installation services. If it is linked, we can also select here related to the job order. Also we can link the project also, destination, location, material requisition. If any material request done for this maintenance request by the employee, so we can also link. Here we can see the instruction. Also we can upload the instruction. If it is already uploaded, we can also review it. Maintenance plan material, we can also see here. Let me just save it first. So automatically it will be received from my maintenance plan material checklist from the equipment itself. So whenever any maintenance request will come, automatically it will be instruction as well as the maintenance plan material and checklist is also attached with this request. So based on this request, we can also create the, if it is in progress, ready for the next stage or blog, we can also create the job order. Basically this job order is the task. We can create the task and then we can assign to the responsible person who can work on it. Once he done the work, also he can do the timesheet in the system itself. He can record the timesheet and he can submit the work. Okay, I work for change oil. And if you wish to link with your job cost center, you can also add with the cost center. So we can add the cost center. If any cost line is there related to this, if it is related to the pumps, valves and controls, we can also link with our job cost sheet. So it will be on one stage. You can get all the maintenance related or any cost is done during the execution of the project. You can get it on your cost sheet. Now here we already review it, all the details. Let's go ahead. Yeah, if we wish to add under the cost sheet, also we can mark it here under the cost sheet. We can create it or we can link with our cost sheet also available. Let me just go ahead. We already see this all the details. Let me go back to the job order. Now here we have the request for information. If any RFI is submitted from the portal or from the website, so it will be generated in the system itself related to any request for information. It will be done by any of the user or any of the site engineer or the responsible person. They can make the in the system they can raise the request for the information. If they require the request for the material origin, so they can make the, if it is related to design clarification, architectural, whatever their request, we can also make it here. If it is cable routing, or they can add and assign to, they can also assign. And then it will not come on the assign to, because it once it is submitted from the portal, it will be just the request form. Now it will be assigned from the system by the responsible person or backend staff. They can also assign here. If it is customer and suppliers link, we can also add here this customer supplier. Like let me just add it here, the customer silver contracting. Other details are already there. Team leader, we can make the team leader also. If it is there related to the project, we can link the project also over there. If related to the task, we can also link them. Let me go quickly to the portal. Here we have already the portal. We have the create RFI. So whoever is request for any of the additional information, they can also create the request for information from the portal itself. So this can be submitted from the portal. Like here, it's me. I will go quickly here. You can add the material origin. You can add here other details, and they can also even attach the files. You have entered wrong email ID, request you to recheck. Okay, so like this you can also submit the request for the RFI. Also we can also create the job order from the portal itself. If any repair request, that can be also done via the portal, but for the repair request they require the login access. Other request you can do it without the login in the system. Material repair request also available. It will be also accepted without the login information. Material request also done from the portal itself. And here we can see my job orders. Once you log in, you can review it, all your job orders also. Let's go to the backend. So we can manage nicely this request for information. Now for the additional things, here we have also available transmittals and submittal document. If any of the documents are sent or received from the client or to the client, we can add in the system itself. Like here we can add the chart of the head count project. We can add here. If you are sending every day the chart of the head count to the responsible person or on the customer, so So in this case you can add it here, the other details, additional details. You can also link with your analytic account, the job order, like here we have the job order is the installation of the services, job cost sheet also you can link if required, date of sending we can also send it here, like every day if you are sending, so it must be there, sender company if it is related to the hard copy you are sending, receiver company also you can add it here, like if it is DHL then we can add it here, DHL receiver company also we can make it here, who is the receiver, so we can make it all the details here if it is hard copy we are sending. And then we can add here other details, name, type of the document, if it is bill, agreement, statement of work we can add the statement of work details, we can add the channel, so how we are sending via the email, via the post, we can make it the email, work details, material or work details, let me just add it, reason for sending, we can add the reason for sending, description taken by recipients. So all details can be done, we can send it via the email. This is the transmittal, same like we can do it for the submittals also. So you can send it in the system, from the system also. Here we can add the recipients, like here responsible person, context we can add it here, and you can see this transmittal details also there, authorized signature and receiver signature. So this all is in the system is available, you can use it in the system itself. Once it is sent by email, confirmed, approved, sent, so all details will be recorded in the system. Now here we have the other details, like we can see quickly stock pickings, whatever related to this job order, any stock picking is done, we can also review it here, all the stock is there already in the system itself, as well as the inspection reports, we already see the inspection also. If anything is related to the repair of the repair of the equipment, so in this case also we can make the inspection for the machine repair request, machine inspection other than the regular inspection with your task, so that can be also done in the system. Now we already reviewed all, we will finish our workflow. Before this we have the daily logs. This is very important if you are working on the site or on one of the project, so every day they have to make the one report, daily log in the system itself, which work order they are working, so they have to be record their work order they are working, construction related things if it is, or installation related things, or subcontractor related things, they all the activity this needs to be entered by the site engineer, phone calls, equipment is used, material deliveries, if any visitors are there, if any other not additional, and they have to send this report to the manager. So this workflow daily log is already there. If you wish, I will just create here, so you can get the idea. Here the user who is created, the related to the project, and other details are there. This needs to be entered every day. You can even attach the documents also. So daily logs are working in the system itself. Also you can print it, this daily log, in the system itself, like I will show you quickly. Here is the plumbing services. Once it is done, you can also mark it for the 5 days services, 1 month or 2 months. Every day you can create the daily log and submit to the manager or to the head office. So this will be recorded in the system. Now we already done, we will finish our last job. If any job is pending, we will see here under the job orders. If any job order is pending, we will finish for our project. Here is my all jobs are done. Yes, we will review it and then all are mark it done. You will see here installation services, this needs to be done. Brake oil change, this just now I created. Yeah, this one is the, we need to be mark it done. This is the final handover. Okay, we can make the final handover. If any of the timesheet is linked with this job, we can also record in the system this all the timesheets and all. Let's go. As soon as we did it, we can go to the project also. We will go to the project. here we have the project also. Let me refresh it. Okay, now here when we go to the project dashboard, we have already done the installation services. It marked it green, so we will select here. We also mark it this one because we didn't create any of the advanced payment, so we just mark it this all done, and based on this we will raise the IPC and finish our sales order. Let's go to our sales order. We have already here the sales order 77 sales order. We'll open it and we'll finish this work. Now here we have already, yeah, we can see now it is turned to the deliverables one, so we can deliver the services. Also here we have the create invoice, create IPC. Yeah, we can review it here and then we can create the IPC. If we wish, we can directly create the invoice or we are submitted to IPC. So we will submit through the IPC. We can make it here new. We will add here the other details which is required, also the cost sheet which is required, IPC type, the required things we will add it here, and then join we can add. Now we have already certified IPC quantity and new IPC quantity. We can enter here the new IPC quantity. Okay, this is the remaining previous thing, so we will add it one and create. Okay, so installation services is done. Now we can raise the invoice for this. We don't have any of the advanced recovery. We have here the current IPC amount, cumulative certified amount, previous certified amount, and now here net payable. Let's make it submit. Mark the submitted. Once it is submitted, verified internally and then approved internally, and then you can create the invoice. So you can submit IPC plus the invoice to the customer once he approved the work by the customer. Now here we have already customer. We will confirm it here. We have the project. Let's link it with the project also, an analytic account. Basically one is the analytic account, this one. We can add here if it is related to the progress billing invoice we are also submitting, so we can create the progress billing from the system. We can add here the progress billing title, final handover project. Okay, here the retention cost sheet is automatically linked with this. We will review the cost sheet after this. Let's go to the confirm and then we can see this is the done. IPC is done, invoice is done. We can also print the progress billing in invoice format. This additionally we created. Here we can see here already under the invoice you can see the progress billing information is there. So these all are we are printing in the report also. Total progress billing now it's 0, invoice due date, remaining progress billing nothing is there, previously, current, and then total due now. So this is the work. Yeah, if any retention, this is the final, so we can also mark it like we can also keep it for the retention, and we can release this retention same like what we did previously. From the accounting department we have the retention menu, from there we can release the retention. In this case we have to receive the retention amount from the customer, so we can record in the system as a retention after that. Now this is the flow which we already done. We'll review the project also. Let's go to the project dashboard. We will see here. Now we can see here there is some extra time is done, timesheets are there, MEP installation task, all the tasks which is linked on our project dashboard. This is the 2 additional tasks we created, so it is on our dashboard. We'll go back to the dashboard again. Dashboard. Now here everything is linked. We will review it here. The material, okay, to invoice we need to be make the invoice. Here we can see this is the billed amount and down there is the other details are also there, material, labor and overhead, as well as the budget. This is the important things. You can also create a new budget, or we can also see the created one budget from here itself, from the dashboard here. This is the achieved, this is the committed. So whenever we create a new bill, it will be recorded in the system itself. Now we have the project. Now cost sheet, we'll go back to our cost sheet which we created here. Let's refresh it so we can get the updated data. In this cost sheet, you have one more option is there, create invoice. If you are creating any manual invoice for the any additional task or labor or anything, so in this case you can also create the invoice. When you click on the create invoice, it will visible like this. Only for the labor, if you wish to create the manual invoice, you can also raise the manual invoice, or for the overhead, if you wish to create the manual invoice, you can also create. This option is available. Now let me go back. So material is recorded here, all the details are there. If any of the subcontractor task, like here we have the subcontractor task for BMS, so it is already subcontractor task is updated like this. Then actual timesheet, if recorded any timesheet is there, if any purchase order is there, purchase quantity is there, vendor bill is there, which we raise. Now we have to be raised for the remaining quantity. Cost price, we can also see here the cost price also there. Manual invoice, like from here on from the top, if you created any of the manual invoice, it will be available over there. We can see here if any invoiced hours, if any additional hours we invoiced, we can also see here. Also we have the other details, that actual requisitions and timesheet cost and subtotal. So this all will be visible. Now here when we go to the overhead, under the overhead also the same things are available. Under the material also we can also track everything. Here you can see the customer invoice quantity. This needs to be also updated based on your invoice. If you create it from the manual invoice from here, so it will be updated based on this. Now once it is done, you can review it from here, the purchase order lines. So here it will give you the line wise, means each product wise all the details, purchase order line wise. So you can download it, you can import in the Excel and you can work on it. Now export in the Excel and you can work on it. Now here we have also the timesheet lines. You can review all the timesheets, all the vendor bill lines. You can also get it in the line wise report, so it will be helpful for you. Now cost lines, this is the cost lines of the material, labor and overheads. So this is also used for the BI reporting. You can also export it and you can use it. If any BOQ is linked with this, so we have already BOQ, this is from the BOQ, so it is already linked with this. Job estimation, if we created the job estimation, it will be also linked with this. Now we already see budget lines, which is also important here. Budget, you can also track all your budgeting over here, like here if it is related to the cost sheet, job type. So here you can also work on it. This is the actual, this is the vendor. It will give you the clarity. This is your budgeted, this is your achieved, this is actual amount, total vendor bill amount, here is the actual amount. So you can track it like this is my material, this is the labor and overhead, and you can review it later on for the better handling of the project and profitability of the project. So once these all are done, we have already you can review, you can work on it. Based on this, we have the other things are there: job costing, volume trend reports and job cost sheet analysis. Same like this, you can make the analysis. Let me just go and quickly show you the print option also available. Job costing, profit and loss report also available in the system. This is related to the cost wise. You can see here we have the if we record it on the revenue side, then it must be come on the revenue side. Now here we have the other reports also available. We have, like here we have the job cost sheet analysis report. we will see here. It will give you all the overview of the quantity and all. You can download and you can work on it. You can also get this in the graph mode also. It's available to review. So this is the highest cost we can see. And then also we have availability, job costing, volume trend reports. So basically this is the quantity wise. You can also add the other plant quantity, purchase quantity, requisition, timesheet. If you require, you can add or vendor quantity, and you can get the report based on this. So these two reports also available in the system. Now we already show you all the workflow and everything. One more thing is that here in this system we have provided multiple workflow options to manage the project life cycle. Every contracting company may follow slightly different process or the same process. You can also choose the workflow that best fits to your business operations. If certain steps or actions are not required for your process, so simply you can make it hidden that button actions are restricted, allowing system to remain simple and align with your internal workflow. That can be possible. Thank you very much.